Hello, my name is Gabriel Martinez. I hope that you're doing well. This is going to be my mealworm journey. My journey starts on September 22nd. I went to Petco and I got 50 mealworms and I got a little container to put them in. I went to Food Town. I got some oatmeal and some apples. As soon as I put the mealworms in there, they started burrowing inside of the the oatmeal and they were really hungry. And so I have a little journal entry here showing what they look like and a little bit about that day. And in this video here coming up next, this is a little video showing how hungry they were on that first day. So that was really fun. And so for my first experiment, I wondered if they like apples or potatoes more. I got one apple, one potato, a knife, and the mealworms in the container. I cut the apple into 1/8. I cut the potato into 1/8. I put them on both sides of the container to see which one they would like. I left them for about 3 hours, and I wanted to see the results. The mealworms definitely preferred the apple over the potato. Honestly, it was pretty wild. They kind of did not really like the potato at all. There were a few times where they kind of were on it, but they didn't really like it. I think it's because the apples had more juice in it and they were more thirsty. Here's a little journal entry that I wrote. This is what happened on that day. Later on, I decided that I was gonna just put the rest of the apples and the rest of the potato in there. And I just wanted to monitor and see if they did eventually, I don't know if it was a fluke or something like that, but they definitely preferred the apple more than the potato. The potato kind of actually got rotten, and so they just honestly just did not like the potato. So this is the picture of me just scattering everything to see if they which one they would like more, and so the apple definitely still won. And so this is just evidence of that going for that apple. And so yes, and so for my second experiment, I decided to see if they like the dark or if they like being in the light. I had a dark room, or I actually used my closet. I used my room with the lights on, and the meal rooms, of course. Um, my procedure, I just left them in the light for 5 hours to see how many were on the surface, and I also left them in a dark place for 5 hours to see how many I saw on the surface. The conclusion: mealworms definitely prefer the darkness over the light. They seem to hide when the light is on. Not many mealworms appeared on the surface when the light was on. When the when in the dark, the mealworms were definitely eating more. And so what's crazy is they literally every time they saw me coming in with a light, they would actually burrow inside of the oatmeal and hide. And so that was kind of crazy. Another thing that I noticed was I started seeing these little like sheddings of the mealworms, and so I started seeing that a lot. And another thing, I actually found some pupas, and so there's not much movement going on, and I was really wondering what was going on. And I started realizing what they look a little bit different. They look a little bit more chunky. And it turns out I researched that they don't really move much. All they can do is really wiggle in this state because they're kind of vulnerable. And on October 18th, they turn into beetles. And so that's when I started seeing a lot more beetles and a lot more movement. And so that was so fun for me to be able to see them moving and grooving and eating. And that was definitely fun. Another kind of side experiment, I decided to try. They were eating a lot of the raw, um, more of the rotten apple than fresh apples, and it was kind of interesting. This is something that I observed. I also decided to put a habanero in there, see if they liked it. But what's weird is they actually prefer the rotten apple. For my third experiment, I wanted to see if they like coffee or juice more. I got a paper towel. I cut it into rectangles, 2 inch by 1 inch. I fold them twice. Folded a little piece of paper towels twice. I soaked each of the little pieces of paper towel, one in coffee, one in juice, and I put them on opposite sides of the container. And I left it in there for 5 hours. The conclusion was the beetles actually didn't care, which I was actually really surprised because I thought that they were gonna like the juice more, honestly, because it was more sweet, kind of like the apple. But they kind of really didn't care, and so I was a little bit shocked. I only have one evidence of one beetle on top of the juice, but that's about it. They weren't going crazy over it or anything like that. And so I just thought that that was really interesting. Something that I don't know. It just yeah. So that was kind of shocking. This is a picture of the little two towels that I soaked up, and this is the picture and the final experiment that I did. But I just want to say thank you so much. I definitely had a great time in this project. It was really fun to see them every day and just I can hear them crawling in the middle of the night, which is really funny. But thank you so much for everything.